5-minute math, herbs class, here with more statistics, right? So today we're going to talk about frequency charts, and we're going to also talk about a couple of different ways to display some data. So what I have right here is a list of data. We're going to call this data IB scores, right? Good. Okay. So I went ahead and I sorted the data for you. Now I can't promise you that your data is always going to be sorted, but it will help you out to sort your data from smallest value to biggest value. So the idea of a frequency chart is this. You know what frequency means? Yeah, let's talk about what frequency means. Bang. Frequency is exactly that. In this class, in math and statistics, we're going to talk about how many times a data value appears. Now, we can organize this data in a chart to make it a little bit easier to understand what we're looking at. So your frequency chart will look something like this. Bang! This is what a frequency chart looks like. So as you can see, in my first column, I have data values, the 3s, the 4s, the 5s, 6s, and 7s. And in the second column, I have the frequency, or how many times each data value shows up in my list. So this is what a frequency chart looks like. And it's a pretty simple process to turn this frequency chart into a bar graph. Let's do that. Bang! There's my bar graph. And this bar graph is a visual display of the data in our set, right? So we're going to use we use these bar graphs to talk about things with distribution. We'll calculate means off of these bar graphs. But this is a bar graph, and right now we'll talk about the difference between a bar graph and a histogram. Bang! Okay, so histograms are used for slightly different types of data sets. Now let's talk about what we mean here. So this data set here, notice how we have 10 numbers and they're sorted, smallest to biggest, but notice how every number shows up only one time, right? So would it be appropriate to do a frequency chart like we normally do, where every single thing has only one it only shows up one time? I don't know. You know what though? I got a few numbers in the teens, I got a few numbers in the 20s and a few numbers in the 30s. What if we made like ranges and we talked about how many times a number shows up that's in that range? That would help us out, right? Let's see what that frequency chart would look like. Bang! That's exactly right. So notice now, instead of using one data value, I'm using a range of data values. There's a special name for these ranges also. These ranges are called bins. So, and now instead of trying to figure out how many times 11 shows up, I'm trying to figure out how many times numbers between 10 and 19 show up. So, how many numbers do we have between 10 and 19, including 10 or 19? A quick thing to check for in histogram bins, make sure your bins don't overlap. This can't say 10 to 20 and this say 20 to 30, because where would we put 20? In this bin or that bin? Good. Make sure your bins don't overlap. I have 3 numbers. Excuse me. I got 3 numbers in between 10 and 19. Here they are. I got 3 numbers in between 20 and 29, and I have 4 numbers in between 30 and 39. This is the difference in setting up a frequency chart for a histogram versus a frequency chart for a bar graph. I'm going to show you the difference in the picture also. Bang! This is what a histogram looks like. There's a couple of differences that we should probably note. First difference you probably notice is that the column connects. The columns connect. Notice how this column is connected to this column, is connected to this column. No space in between the columns. Different from bar graphs. Another difference. Bang. Difference number 2. Notice how each column does not center on one data value. Each column spans the range of the bin. So what that means is, if my bin, my range for this first group goes from 10 to 19, so should its column. This column goes from 10 up to 20, but up to 19. The next column starts at 20, goes up to 29, and the last column starts at 30 and goes up to 39. And as you can see, we have 3 values in the first bin, 3 values in the second bin, 4 values in the last bin. So, differences. There are differences between bar graphs and histograms, and hopefully this explains that. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Oh yeah.